country mobilized for total war, Americans at home were asked by their government to do without most of the luxuries and many of the necessities they had been.
Do not ask for butter. Yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today.
Bobby pins and zippers and tin foil, shoes and whiskey and chewing gum, butter and coffee and nylons and tomato ketchup and sugar, canned goods and cigarettes, and the matches needed to light them.
I guess the deep down feeling I had is that they made us sacrifice. And if we were sacrificing, we would somehow feel closer to the war effort. And I think that's really what they were trying to do, was to get your attitude in that our fighting men and women don't have these, so you shouldn't have these, and somehow you'll get tied into the war effort.
We did without, during the Depression, so doing without these commodities really was not hard. Recipes were adjusted according to what you could get. Now there were shortages all over. You could get very little white flour. Cakes were all adjusted to no sugar, very little fat or shortening of any sort. So cakes took it as hard as anything. To have a birthday cake was a real treat because it meant they had to save everything to make one cake.
Look, miss. See that?
Hey, look, miss.
You could drive a car from Los Angeles to New York.
That's an airplane.
That plane burns up in just 1 hour of combat. It takes 2 million gallons of gas to send a single 1,000-bomber raid over enemy territory. That's enough to drive 1,000 private automobiles 7,500 miles a year for 4 years.
There's too many
statistics.
No
gas sign at his station or here.
No gas today.
But many people tried to get around rationing. And a thriving black market grew up to satisfy those who couldn't do without. According to one study, 1 in every 4 retail transactions during the war was illegal.
Dear Mom and family, I know you didn't receive mail from me for over a week, but circumstances prevented me from writing to you. Yes, that's right. I took a little boat ride, and I didn't even get seasick. Well, I suppose you're wondering where I am. I think if I wouldn't tell you, you would never guess it. Okay, I'll tell you, because I know you'll want to know in the worst way. I'm somewhere in North Africa. Surprised? Well, I am too. But I am very safe, so don't worry. Love, babe.
At the Casablanca conference back in January, the Allies had publicly called for the unconditional surrender of the Axis, and privately decided upon an invasion of the island of Sicily, and then the Italian mainland, what Churchill called the soft underbelly of the Axis. American commanders had impatiently insisted on a cross-channel invasion of France, but the British were wary, still haunted by the memory of the losses they had suffered there during the First World War. They got their way. Sicily would be first.
American troops of General Patton's 7th Army move swiftly through western Sicily, taking town after town.
You heard me, I say, your mama, Sicily. Oh, job.
And Patton came to see us. Talked to us.
You hate that they came to see us.
Well, I do, but I mean, we love Patton. And he was something.
Hey, good old...
These
Yeah, good old Pattinson.
move, and some troops can shoot. But when you can...
Yeah, your mama can shoot.
Then you and Napoleon are pissing through the same straw.
Bye. Bye-bye. Watch out. Mormons are coming. The Mormons are coming.
8 days to capture Sicily, pushing the enemy from one town to another. Thousands of civilians died, and 25,000 Allied soldiers were dead or out of action. Axis lost 167,000 men. The overwhelming majority of them. Tens of thousands of crack German troops had managed to escape. In Rome, Mussolini had been deposed by his own generals and councillors. The new Italian government surrendered on September 8th and declared war on Germany soon thereafter. But there were now more than 132,000 German troops waiting on the Italian mainland. Another 460,000 were on their way to join them. And a daring Nazi commando raid rescued Mussolini from captivity and set him up in northern Italy as head of a puppet regime. It was clear to the Allies that the Germans were resolved to hold Italy at all costs.
When we got through in North Africa, we kept telling the Russians that we were going to open up another front. But we couldn't open up the front across.
They couldn't have opened up because your mama already done shut them down.
About that. And so we had to go into where we were going to go. We went into Sicily. That turned out to be fairly simple. And then we went across to Italy, which we thought was going to be like Sicily, and it turned out to be much more difficult.
Italy is like a boot, Napoleon once said. You must enter it like Hannibal from the top. The Allies planned to attack it from the bottom. At first, everything seemed to go according to plan. The Fifth Army landed at Salerno on September 9th. The British 8th Army seized the important airfields at Foggia. And Naples fell to the Americans on October 1st. Despite fierce resistance, in 3 months, the Allies managed to achieve 2 key goals. They had forced Italy out of the war and onto their side. And they were keeping thousands of German troops busy who might otherwise have been fighting in Russia or preparing to defend France against the invasion both sides knew was coming.
Shirley, stop it.
The Allies' target now was Rome, only 150 miles away.
Oh, when in Rome, do as the Romans.
Getting there
Roma.
than anyone could have imagined.
Hey, wait a minute, what are you doing?
Emotionally and relationally.
And yourself. You think.
Dee and I are dying for some nice raviolis.
Your mama's a ravioli.
Long before we get them. Will you please send me Mom's brother's address in your next letter? Love, Babe.
Babe was careful always to keep the details of what he was doing from his family, so as not to alarm his